travel to a faraway jungle to find the source, each having their own reasons. Welcome to the Tomb of Annihilation. So then, welcome everybody to another episode of our campaign. I believe this is episode 6?
I think so too, yeah.
Okay, so, as a recap from the last session then, having won the dinosaur event, the party headed off to meet with Rocker, leaving the arena behind them with fawning and screaming fans trailing in their wake. They stopped to get bathed, changed, and geared up, and then headed to Sylvain's stables before heading to the meeting point. After meeting Rocker, he guided the party to the Teriyaki anchorage, where you met with Sipu and his canoe, who then ferried the party across the bay to complete the first leg of their journey to Fort Beluarian, where the party would acquire a charter of exploration and create a diversion so Rocker may complete his own mission, which was finding evidence of an alliance between the fort and the pirates you encountered on the way into Chult itself. Whilst it rained most days on the way there, the party encountered no dangers as they skirted the jungle towards the fort. Upon arrival, they were greeted by Greta, an albino dwarf lieutenant who led them to the registration office where they purchased the charter. Calling yourselves Fortune's Favoured. After being shown around the place, Dusted Cole challenged 2 visitors to a duel, while Vargo disappeared silently and quietly to set fire to a merchant building. An alarm bell began ringing throughout the fort, and everyone came running to put the fire out, forming a bucket line. But it was Yarlena who casually walked towards the fire, casting frost spells to quench the flames. And with the flames doused, the commander of the fort invited the party to lunch with her as a gesture of thanks for the help. We finished the last session where the party decided to follow after the commander towards the great building in the center of the fort, with Dusted Cole hanging back. For now. Let's stop the music there. So, Dusted, are you going to hang around here or are you going to follow them?
I can follow through, yeah. I can follow everybody.
Okay. The commander is a middle-aged human woman, nearing her 50s, you would guess. She has long brown hair turning grey, braided to one side of her head. She's a good 6 foot tall, wearing studded leather armor that looks like it has seen action. A white cloak is pinned across the front of her armor over one shoulder, hanging down to knee height. She marches off, setting a slow but steady pace through the tiny courtyard of the registration area, leading you towards the great double doors of the inner bailey. The bailey is well built, with 16-foot high walls, with the roof rising a further 5 feet. A fort within a fort. As you enter the doors, the corridor stretches to about 25 feet ahead of you and opens into a small courtyard where the roof above is open to the sky. A great statue dominates the center of this courtyard, with the likeliness of the Grand Duke Uldar Ravengard himself. A boardwalk circles the outer edge of the small courtyard, keeping feet dry when the ground beneath turns to mud. Opposite you are 2 closed doors with a guard on either side. To the left, a staircase leading up, alongside some archways, with another guard stationed there. The sounds of dinosaurs emanate out from the archway, and to the right is an open entrance, torchlight glowing from within. The commander takes a right-hand turn, leading you to the open entrance. She waits, and as you slowly enter, you look around. 2 long tables dominate the center of this hall. Chairs and benches line either side, and the tables are laid out with utensils, goblets, and dining plates. Dinosaur heads and skulls line the walls of this great hall, and a large, full-length portrait of the Duke dominates the southern wall. The ground itself is covered in fur rugs and pelts of various exotic animals. The commander makes her way to the far table and takes a seat, gesturing to all of you. Please, friends, take a seat, won't you? And she waits until you're seated.
Bargo chooses the farthest seat in the table and just sits down.
Mm-hmm. Let me see it. Well, hold on. Anyone else?
Choose the second farthest seat.
Yeah, and then just kind of rolls her eyes at them and sits kind of in the middle. Hell yeah.
I'm just gonna unfog the area for you all. There we go. Okay.
I just take one at random that are free.
Okay. I need to erase that. There we go. Good. So, you all take your seats. Food? Wine? She gestures to the table. It appears you've only just arrived and, without hesitation, dove into our rescue in our small bazaar and help us, well, burst into flames. I would like to commend you on your quick thinking. She gives a little clap and nods her head as gratitude. She grabs a goblet in front of her from the table and holds it behind her over her shoulder. As soon as the goblet begins to slow down and comes to a rest, you see a stirring, shimmering in the air behind you, and an invisible form slowly takes shape, holding a flagon of wine, and immediately begins pouring her a cupful. Once done, the unseen servant then disappears. I am Liara Porter, commander of this garrison. What brings you to Chult? As she finishes talking, the door to the west opens behind her, and a young elven woman steps through, pushing a cart laden with food. She's wearing a white apron and a chef's hat. Without a word, she moves alongside the commander and begins to carve into a large piece of meat. It looks like the joint of some creature. The elf then places 2 slices of meat onto the commander's plate, and some kind of cooked root vegetable, and a large spoon of sauce. She then moves on down the table towards the next person, and that is Lunan. It is midday, and the sound of the rain begins from outside, and as you look out of the exit to this room, you can see the rain softly falling onto the statue of the Duke outside the hall. The elf Lunan gestures to you with a kind nod and indicates to the tray laden with food.
I'll dig in.
Okay, so she starts to slice off some of the meat and places it on your plate, puts some vegetables in front of you. It looks like it is a pink starchy vegetable, and then she pours a ladle full of dark brown rich sauce, and she moves on to dusted coal next, inclines her head as if to ask if you would like some as well.
Dustin tries his best to remain calm and nod his head at the request, or not the request, the offer.
Is anyone not going to eat?
Bargo sitting.
So everyone's going to take some food, yes?
Yeah.
Yep.
Excellent. And who is anyone having wine?
No.
No.
Nope.
Yes.
All right.
If it's offered, yes. I give him my wine.
Doing what the commander did, all you need to do is hold your goblet behind you, and the unseen servant will appear there and start pouring wine for you. Liara noticed some of you don't have wine, and she looks, would you care for some maracuya juice instead?
Oh, I will gladly take that. Yes.
Excellent. And the rest of you that aren't drinking wine?
Yes, I'll have some.
Do.
Excellent. Shanae, if you would see to it. And the elf nods as she's in between servings. She reaches underneath the trolley and brings out a jug of this beautifully orangey red liquid. It looks like fruit juice, and she goes around and she pours and then continues to go back serving. So tell me, she looks at Lunan. What brings you to Chult?
We are here on a mission.
Oh, what sort of a mission is it?
We. Now I've forgotten the name of what's her name? The wizard.
Lady Sindra, you mean?
Lady Sindra, yeah. We have been commissioned by Lady Sindra to do an assignment for her.
Oh, I am aware of the Lady Sindra, yes. I understand she has had some comings and goings. Pray tell, what assignment are you, partaking over here?
For now, that's between us and her.
Tight-lipped. I can honor that and respect that. And what about you, Tabaxi? I see you are sauntering around the jungles, happy to be, within the jungles, away from the city?
I'll do fine at the dinner table as well as the jungle, my lady. Thank you for asking, though.
I see you appear to have some etiquette when it comes to dining. Spent time in cities, have you?
I do my best to mingle in where I can, my lady.
Okay, okay. And looking over towards Yarlena. And what about you, young lady? Um, what is your reason for coming to the jungles?
I needed to get away from home for a bit.
Oh, running away from problems back home.
I wouldn't really say they are problems, but I need some time to myself.
But you're traveling with a company of... What did you call yourself? The Fabulous Fortune?
Yes, but this is different.
Fortune's favourite, I believe.
Fortune's favoured, yes. Brilliant, brilliant. And she looks over at Felris. It is interesting to see you in the company of these mortals here as well. I have not seen many of your kind in the jungle. How has the real world treated your kind?
Seems simpler here than back at home. Much simpler.
Not to worry. The jungle is tolerant of those from the other side of the rift. You will find that you meet many a strange creature here. So, do not be put off by any of the rudeness from the cities. You can be yourself over here.
So I've heard.
So I understand you've purchased a charter, yes. Planning to do a little bit of exploration of the jungles, are you?
That is the intention, yeah.
Excellent, excellent. You aren't planning on traveling past the Tirayuki river, are you? Perhaps you might intend to?
We're not that familiar with the geography of this island yet.
I
Could you inform us of where this is?
Certainly, of course. And let's just quickly switch to the map of Chult. So the Turiiki River runs from the Port Nyanzaru all the way down, as you can see on the map. So this... Can you see where I mark?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's literally directly south from Fort Beluarian.
At the moment, we have no such plans, no?
Is it with the kitchen's inlet? The one that runs in there?
It is the one to the left of Kitcher's Inlet.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
from Kitcher's Inlet, that's the River Olong. Then it's the River Turiaki that runs from the right-hand side of Port Nyanzaru. And then the Shoshin Star River runs to the left of Port Nyanzaru.
Ah, yes.
Planning on traveling down past the Turiaki River by any chance?
What has you so interested in where we go?
Well,
Is there somewhere we should not go?
The Flaming Fist control all of the regions down towards Mesro. Obviously, the charter is required for any exploration in the area. As you are aware, or may have been told, we claim 20% of any treasures that are found. That is our profit from letting you travel through our lands. And we cover the entire area from Kitcher's Inlet, Mesro, across through the river towards the Soshin Star River and to the Misty Cliffs. Further down beyond, though, we have not ventured, and it would be interesting to hear reports. If you were to come past this way, you know, I might be able to pay quite kindly for additional unexplored areas that we can add to our maps.
We might have a pause there. We do not know for sure yet where our mission will take us.
And during your meal, while you're busy chatting, you notice Greta making an appearance. She strides with purpose towards the commander into the room, entirely ignoring you. When she reaches the chair, she leans forward and whispers into the commander's ear. And then
Can I hear what she says?
you could roll. Yes, you can try. Let's see. I would probably say it would be perception.
Yep. I hear nothing.
So you strain a little bit to hear, and don't make anything out except... And then Greta reaches onto her belt and hands a small sack to the commander under the table. The commander nods, looks down at the sack and smiles up to Greta. Thank you, Greta. That will be all. Sorry, she looks up at you. Where were we? Yes, you were saying... The river, you might be persuaded, yes? And Greta turns to leave.
Can we come to some sort of accord here?
Certainly.
I said that you are certainly interested in someone exploring far beyond the Teriyaki River. Maybe we can make an agreement of maybe an exchange of information, just in exchange of not getting, charge 20% for the treasure we find.
I tell you what I am looking for. And given the swiftness of the assistance you provided in quenching the flames nearly burning down our bazaar, I believe you've proven yourselves more than capable. And I am in need of capable people. You see, it's a ghoul eat you world out there, where only the strong survive. And really what I'm looking for is somebody that might consider assisting me in a task that has been causing some concern for me lately.
Which is?
My scouts have reported finding giant footprints south of the fort, about 2 days from here. The tracks lead to and from the location, away from Fort Belluarian and deeper into the jungle. As you can imagine, having giant beasts wandering free in the jungle is a problem on its own. But having giant beasts that I don't know about lying in wait for any leaving Fort Belluarian is quite a different concern altogether. If you could discover who, or potentially what, is responsible for these tracks, I will be happy to reward you with a cache of, say, magical arrows that I have in my armory. What say you?
Any of the findings we make on the way?
In terms of... Do you mean
Record
information?
anything?
Oh, if you can bring me evidence, I would pay handsomely. Anything that threatens the fort and threatens the citizens that come here, and of course the citizens from, Baldur's Gate and the Duke's Reach, it is my duty to protect them, so yes, if you can bring me any evidence of anything that threatens us, I would be happy to handsomely reward you.
And these tracks that you have seen, are they bipedal or?
I have only received reports from my scouts. I have not seen them myself. But of course, this is why I'm looking for a group of, dare I say, adventurers, such as yourselves. If you indeed are heading south down past the Tiriaki River, my scouts do not go beyond our reach. And, they're paid to stay within, unfortunately. But brave souls such as yourselves that are more than capable of surviving might do me the favour, of course. What say you?
I look around the table and ask the team. Is anyone a big fan of shooting arrows?
Not really.
It is a fair enough request, though. I mean, we are only agreeing to finding anything, looking into it if it comes across our path. So we should actually. It doesn't cost us anything to at least look. I don't think it's that unreasonable.
Unless it takes us far off our original mission, I don't see why not either.
Lady, would you consider if we not only find the source of these footprints, if we, in the case we will take care of it for you, would you consider lowering down the taxes from 20% to maybe, let's say, 10%? From now on.
Do this task for me, and I will refund you the purchase price of your charter. And she pulls the bag from her lap and puts it on the table, and you hear the thump of gold. Here is your initial payment. Consider this an advance. Unfortunately, I cannot lower the tax for all of the Flaming Fists enforce the 20% on the spot. However, I will pay you handsomely when you return to me, and if you keep a track record of the payments that you make, we can come to some arrangement whereby I will reimburse you for the losses.
That sounds reasonable.
And if we accept this advance and don't manage to find anything, what then?
Well, if you don't manage to find anything, then I won't see you again, will I? But I'm prepared to put forward the gold, the 50 gold that you paid us already, as a show of good faith. I trust that capable adventurers such as yourselves will return to me with some news.
I don't particularly see a problem with this. Towards
Excellent.
the others.
And these tracks were all the way down south of the Teriyaki River.
They 2 days south of the fort they begin, and they follow the river down, and they seem to return as well. My biggest worry is that they are lying in wait for any visitors leaving the fort.
We'll definitely
Have there been
surprise them.
any victims?
We have not had any bodies, not victims, no.
Do you have any people in the fort, within the fort, that has seen this creature?
My scouts come and go. I do know that the tracks are large. They are giant footprints, is all I've been told, and they are unrecognizable from any of the beasts that we have hunted in the jungles.
All right. Where would you recommend us to start searching?
2 days south near the river, along the banks of the river leading up to the fort and away from it.
I look at the party. Seems okay for me.
Excellent.
Yes,
I'm nodding.
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Vago, she looks at you and she before we conclude our meal and you make your way back or begin your, shall we say, investigation for me. You look quite familiar. Do you have a brother by the name of Adolin?
At the mention of his brother, Bargo just makes a tick with his face. Yeah, I do. Have you happened to see him?
Well, yes, as in the spirit of a partnership, I can tell you with certainty that your brother and the company of the Yellow Banner came to purchase a charter from me perhaps 4 or 5 weeks ago. They didn't stay overnight. They nipped in and we had a chat. The company was quite large. There were many wizards. One of them dressed quite similar to yourself. They mentioned they were going south to Mesro, but I informed them that obviously we've already picked the place clean. But Adeline had a different purpose that he wouldn't share with us, so I let them go on their way and bid them farewell. But your brother is here. You have a striking resemblance to him. Hopefully this might tie into your investigations and you might come across each other. The jungle is vast, but do not fear the jungle. And bear in mind that moving fast is often preferable, as some creatures won't pursue you outside of their normal feeding grounds.
I will take all this into consideration. Thank you for the information, lady.
Liara, please. Excellent. And with that, she places her hands on the table and slowly pushes back and stands up. Well, I consider our business here concluded. Thank you for giving up your valuable time and breaking bread at my table. I am afraid I have business elsewhere, and I bid you good luck in your travels, and I hope to see you soon with some evidence from your investigation. And she turns and she heads for the open entrance. And as soon as she leaves, The chef enters with the empty trolley and begins tidying up, slowly moving around. It is then that you notice that one of the guards from outside the room moves in, slowly making his way towards you. Alright then, grubs up. Come on then, get your stuff. Bye now. Come on, shoo, out you go.
I leave.
Uh-huh. Anyone else?
Dustin quickly takes a moment to compliment the chef on the meal, just enough to get close to her or approaching her
Mm-hmm.
to sort of like deem if she's here against her will.
Roll. Are you going to ask or are you going to try and perceive?
I'm gonna perceive that because if I ask directly, this is in front of everybody. So no, definitely not. It has to be an insight or something like that.
Yeah. Go ahead then and make sort of an insight check for me.
Nope, definitely not.
As far as you can tell, she just looks like a meek sort of a chef. That is about it. But
Yeah, Dustin commends that to memory.
okay. You're going to put that into memory, did you say?
I'm commending it to memory,
All
at
right.
least this woman. Yeah.
Cool. As you're finishing up and you're moving outside, you notice the rain begins to stop as well, and the sun slowly comes out. Where are you off to?
Quickly, on the way out, is the elven lady still in the room with us, I suppose?
She is. Well, yes. You've not left the room yet. Dusted has. Lunan has. Valrus Fargo has. Yarlena is still staying behind. Liara's left.
I will quickly glance at the elven lady and ask her, is that tiny servant you're doing?
Is the dinosaur... What?
Is that tiny servant you're doing the spell?
Ah. She shakes her head. No, master.
I'm not master. Are you trying to say that that lady is the one who cast it?
Indeed, yes, the commander has a lot of skills, and she pays well. It's a pleasure to work for her.
Do I believe her saying that?
Yeah, you can roll an insight check if you want.
Would I be able to roll one as well?
Yes, if you want.
Like,
I believe her.
Vargo, you believe her 100%.
Nice to hear it.
we're all rolling very badly at insight today, I think.
So, as far as you can tell, Yarlena, she's telling the truth.
Okie dokie.
All right. Thank you very much, and hope you have a good day. Bargo got everything he wanted from that question.
Excellent. Okay. So you finish up your meal, you make your way out of the inner bailey, back into the reception room. Who is carrying the sack with 50 gold?
Oh, I assume we all get 10 gold. Is that fine with everybody?
You gonna dish out the money as you're walking out?
Oh no, that will be rude. Maybe outside.
Outside where exactly?
When I see him coming out with the sack, I say, "You can have that until we set camp tonight."
Mm-hmm.
To whom did you say that?
To you.
Oh.
If we can't trust each other with 10 gold, I wouldn't trust you with my life. And in this jungle, we need to be able to trust each other.
I trust you. Don't worry. DM, let's say if I gave Arky, my familiar, the pouch with the gold, and made it disappear to other plane. When he appears into the world again, will he be carrying the gold with him?
That's a good question, and I will say no.
All right. Then I will keep the gold for now. Feel free to ask for it whenever you want.
Okay, so where are you going to put the gold exactly?
I suppose I attach it to my belt, just secure.
Okay. So you're going to attach it to your belt as you walk past. That way everyone can hear you moving past them with the jingle jangle.
I mean, yeah.
All right. So you exit the Bailey into the courtyard of the reception area. Yalena, are you leaving as well?
Yes. Yeah, sure, just leave after the others.
Okay. And are you all headed out of the fort?
I assume so.
Okay. So it is... Go on.
On the way out, I will just look at what they are selling in the market stands. If it's anything of interest. If they are still open after the fire.
So there are a couple. There are half a dozen traders that are currently still trying to sell some of their wares. The other half are all trying to repair the big straw roof. The traders are selling. You manage to spot some gems, some various sizes, small gems. You also manage to see that they're selling hides. Animal parts are hanging up over there. Particularly things like feathers, teeth, claws of animals. There are some small animals in cages.
Okay. Do I see? I'm interested in pouches and potentially a jar, like just a sack to put stuff in.
Yes, if it's just a sack, then you can easily see one or two of those hanging around.
I will purchase that, and if there is any jar of any type.
So the person who's selling there's gems. There's a jar of gems.
Okay.
You could.
I will let it be then for now.
Okay. So you're going to go up and you're going to speak to a trader and try and get a sack.
Yeah.
All right. So you walk up and he's. G'day,
Hey there.
Governor.
How much for that sack?
Oh, that'll be 2 copper. 2 copper, Governor.
I'll don't think I have anything smaller than a gold, so I will take out the gold coin and say I'll take 2.
You rich bastard. Hang on then. Bloody gold coins. Looks in his pouch. And you're gonna have to hang on here, Governor. 1 second, yeah. And he walks over to another trader and he starts talking with a guy, and you can see them counting out the coppers and the silvers, and brings out a sack, comes over to you. Alright. He hands you a small sack. Here's your 98 coppers in a sack. And he gives you another 2 sacks, which are empty as well. So you've now got a sack full of 98 copper coins and 2 empty sacks.
Nice.
3 sacks.
It should be 96, right? I bought 2 sacks.
Right you are, Governor. Alright then. Forgive me. I'm not good at me maths.
I'll just take the sacks and the coins and leave. Thank you very much.
Alright. Anyone else?
No.
Nope.
Nope.
So, you catch up to the rest of the party as they exit their way out of the fort. As you leave the fort, you have a look around. It's late afternoon. If we just switch to the map, you could quite easily make your way back to the original campsite on the map. Where are you off to, and your destination? How are you going to get there?
Any signs exiting the fort of our little infiltrator that we were trying to make time?
To Roka,
Yeah.
you would need to roll an either investigation or perception, whichever you want.
I'm rolling well today. Yeah.
Am I allowed to roll as well?
Yeah.
Perception?
Mm-hmm. Oh, look at that.
Finally some good
20.
rolls.
My
Very
goodness.
nice.
So Vargo, Matt, you look around and you have no idea. You haven't seen hide nor hair of Roka. You can't really notice everything anyway. The thoughts of your brother are still clouding your mind, thinking, my brother could be south. Wow. Lunan, without any distractions, as you were leaving the bazaar area, you cast your eyes around and you took a look about. Definitely there is no commotion. It doesn't look like if Rocco was caught, no alarms have been raised. And you know from your meeting with Liara from your lunch that she hadn't had a clue either. So you don't even notice any tracks from Rocker, even if you were a tracker, leaving through the front gate. So he's either gone with the wind or he's in hiding quite well.
My suggestion is that we go to the old campsite and hopefully Rocca will catch up with us there. Maybe he's already there for all we know.
That's a good idea, yeah.
Anyone
I
else?
suppose he will find us.
Okay. So you leave the fort and you make your way back to your last campsite. You manage to get to the campsite just as the sun begins to set, and you start setting up camp. Last session we discussed a watch with some... Who is the watch order? What was the watch order? Do you remember?
It's not.
I remember I stated that always want to go last, if possible.
It's not the one that we have on the map.
I thought that was on the maps your marching
Or is that
order.
the marching? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we set it up so that we had two elves. Me being the second elf, taking the 4 last hours, and Jerlana or someone taking the first 4 hours together in pairs with the others. That's including Rocca, that was position 3, I think.
Yeah, and Rocker is not with you anymore, so...
Yeah.
How about Margot goes with you, Lunan, and then I'll take the solo one.
I don't mind being solo. I can be awake those 4. I will be awake no matter what.
Yeah, I think I was awake at some point during the first half.
So just remember, you need 8 hours of sleep to qualify for a long rest.
4 hours of trance.
Unless you're an elf, yeah. I believe it is just...
Or you're a fighter that doesn't need a long rest. Let's not negotiate this.
Yes.
I can take the middle watch. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Right, so then we have our watch order, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So you set up camp and everyone sets out their watches. Night passes uneventfully. The morning comes, and you break camp, and you head out in the morning. Can I get some survival checks for foraging and for hunting, please? Did we... So who's foraging, who's hunting? Bearing in mind, as you are walking along, it's really just keeping your eyes open for foraging stuff.
Bargo is foraging. He has proficiency in herbalism kit. Hope that helps.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hunting. I did so last time. Or did I look for water? I forget. Foraging was also for water.
Correct, yeah.
Because I was looking for water last time. So, well, I assume it's the same day. So I'm also foraging.
Yeah. Okay. So we've got Dusted, who definitely passes. Fargo.
But whatever I do, I fail.
Yeah. That's alright. So.
You're saving it for later.
Yeah.
What did Lunan... Oh, sorry, Lunan, did you roll survival?
No,
Lunan
I
rolled
last time I was the navigator. I don't know if I still should be.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, never mind.
because you get advantage on your survival for navigation as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Do you wish the navigation roll to be done?
if you're the navigator,
Yes.
then go for it. With advantage.
Oh, it was so close.
Wow.
Wow.
It was so close to the natural 20, and then it rolled over to a 2.
Okay.
Yeah, we're getting lost today. I'm missing Rocco.
So, you head off in the morning, following the line of trees. In fact, are you taking the same course back? Or are you going to change up your movement?
I mean, the creature in question we're looking for didn't go into the jungle, right? It followed the river itself.
It was 2 days south, and right now we're half a day south.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to go south, and we might as well just be a bit outside of the jungle, I think.
I mean, the creature was, and correct me if I'm wrong, around there, I suppose?
Yeah, somewhere around
yeah.
there.
It was found, the tracks were found there and down all the way to
The river.
How do you do that?
I suppose we should start for looking for tracks.
Where would the majority of like the people leaving Fort Balurian head to?
Who are you asking?
Well, I guess I could look around and try and figure it out.
So as far as you know, the track starts at somewhere around about here. And then they head south, whether it's in down toward the river somewhere, so could be any way down that way.
Maybe we should hug the river.
I think it's a good way of hopefully not getting lost, even though it might take a little bit longer.
Then we might be able to easily find some water.
Yeah, we can do that.
That's a good point.
But it might not be that far south.
We can cut in a little bit. Every so often. Just enough that we don't get lost.
It's true. What about Roka?
No, I'm sure he will find us.
If we wish, we could also go back to the town and get a better guide, or a guide for this mission.
The guides also wanted help for their own missions. I suppose we may have to do those first. So maybe a guide is not an option for now, unless we pay them.
I think we have the fund to pay them for the 30 days. And if we don't, maybe one of their missions are interesting. And we can always walk around and see if there are any other guides postings. But my suggestion is at least to move down along the same path we came and then maybe start looking into these tracks a bit. And if we get nowhere with that, go back to the port town.
I think that's a good idea.
Because anyway, we'll need to go cross the river at some point, unless there are always boats over here.
Sounds good. Do we want to wait for Roca one more day, or?
We don't have... Do you guys think we have time?
I wouldn't say we have a lot of time.
I mean, the original purpose of us coming here was to find proof of Fort Valerian getting involved with the pirates. I'm worried that Roca will not be able to find us if we leave, but he's clearly capable. I can see a case of him finding us anyway. I don't know. It's your call. I'm fine with anything.
Does nobody have a spell or something to contact him?
Not yet. I'm working on that.
I see. Unfortunately, I don't really have anything for tracking people.
We can leave him a message.
Someone might find it.
I mean, you people are really good at setting fire to stuff. How about I shoot an arrow as far as I can? And then hope I have something that is ignitable.
And set someone else's house on fire? Absolutely not. Not again.
I will try something. And Bargo catches a couple of stones, makes a circle when in the place where we will have put our fire for the night. And he's gonna use his magical tinkering. And I explained to the party, I'm able to imbue a message, a short one, 25 words, into this stone. If Roca happens to come to the campment, to where we are, it can trigger automatically to say the message to him, and to him only. Are you guys okay with this?
I think that sounds fair.
Mm-hmm.
But should we tell him that he can find us in that we aim to go to the port town, or what do we wish to say?
I will take care of the message. I need your help in coming up with a good one. Maybe we just say that we are heading round the Teriyaki River in case he wants to find us.
Sounds good.
We can tell him that we will be following the same route we choose to come up here, up until Port Nyanzaru, and then we go down the river. Okay?
I nod.
Margot, yeah, is gonna do just that. And he's gonna do a circle of rocks and puts the middle one and says all that. This lasts indefinitely and triggers only if Roca appears.
Cool. Okay. How long does it take?
Good question. One action.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
So one action just to imbue the stone. I'll probably say a couple of minutes to find the rocks and lay them out correctly.
In a way that catches the attention of Roca. Yes, so he notices it's not natural. It's on purpose.
Okay.
I can also put a visual effect of.
One of those rock towers or whatever.
Yeah, let's do that. Margo puts a static visual effect that will trigger when rock appears, and it will just be an arrow in the air pointing at the rock. He has to pick up.
Okay. Cool. So you set about to sort that out. That's an ability, isn't it, from the artificer?
It is. Yeah.
Alrighty. So you prepare everything, you get it done, and everything is set up, and you guys have packed up your camp and you're ready to go. Anything else?
Do I still have the pouch of gold with me?
The bunch of...
The pouch of gold.
Oh, yes, you do.
I think we should repart this now. Are you okay with this?
So you're going to dish out all the money?
Yeah, if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, it's fine. with
Why
me.
not?
Cool. So I think that's what, 10 gold for each of you?
That's correct.
Excellent. Add that to your sheets.
Done.
I feel nervous in real life carrying that much money with me.
All of a sudden it's gone on spells written down in the spell book somewhere.
Awesome. Okay. So you dish out all the money, counting it out slowly, happy to unburden yourself from carrying so much money. And I take it you all then head off.
Yeah.
So with Lunan leading the way, you head off and begin following the line of trees from the jungle down towards Port Nyanzaru. About mid-morning, Vargo and Dusted Coal, you notice a tree. Dangling from the tree, you see some purple wrinkled fruit. They're about the size of your fist and they're oval shaped, just dangling over there. Deeper into the jungle beyond, you can see more trees full of these fruits. Some of them are wrinkled and some of them are smooth. This is part of your foraging.
Yeah.
Are these edible?
I have no idea. Maybe. This call for a nature check, doesn't it?
Only one way to find out, and I take a bite.
So you're going to go over and you're going to grab some of these fruits?
Yes.
Okay. Which ones are you going for?
The purple ones.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but the smooth or the
there's-
wrinkly ones.
yeah, there's smooth ones and there's some that are like wrinkled.
Ah, hmm, hmm.
And who
Smooth.
else? And who else is joining you?
I mean, I am still sort of like dumbfounded what these things are, and would actually want to cut it through with a weapon first to see what's inside,
Okay, so you're all
and
standing
then have.
around. Lunan in the front. Vargo veers off towards one of the trees, traipsing through the jungle, and the party stops. And you're all watching him go towards these trees, and he has to climb up onto half of the tree and reach up and grab one of these smooth fruits and jumps and pulls one down. Yeah? Everyone else still standing around and watching him?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, I'm following him in there, but that is again to cut one of these things open, to have a look at it first and do a nature check.
Which one are you going to grab?
A wrinkly one.
So you're going to grab a wrinkled one, Vargo's going to grab a smooth one, yeah?
Yes.
Alright. So you grab one of them and you break it in half, and Vargo, you're about to bite into one of the smooth ones when you hear a loud psss. Please roll a dex check for me.
Dex check or saving throw?
Dexterity.
Which one of us? Both of us?
Vargo first, but both of you, yeah. Right. Vargo gets a 12. And Dusted, you get
19.
a 19. Okay. As you hear this, both of you stop what you're doing. And just as you react, a figure lands next to you, Dusted, fallen from one of the trees nearest to you. He leans over and slaps the fruit out of Vargo's hands, and then with his other hand cuffs you on the back of the head, loud enough so that you drop the fruit in your hand. The figure is about 7 foot tall. He's muscular. I mean, muscles are bulging out of his clothing. He's wearing a green and brown mottled cloak which is flapping behind him. A quiver is strapped beneath the cloak, and he has a bow hung over his shoulder, and strapped to his thigh is a large short sword with a slight curve to it. Otherwise, you know he's not holding any weapons in his hands. He's unarmed. He's got short pointed ears on the top of his head, golden brown fur, and a mane of golden scruffy hair running down both his back and his chest from his neck and his beard. And he's wearing light cloth breeches and a small, tight leather vest. Clearly a tabaxi. He turns to you, Dusted, and the scowl on his face tells you he is pretty pissed. And he starts talking to you, gesturing to the trees and the party. And he puts his hands on his hips and stares at you, tapping his foot.
Is he talking any language we don't understand?
And I just start speaking common to the man, even though I don't know if he'll understand me. But apologize. I apologize. I don't understand you. It's my first time here.
His head cocks to the side, and his voice, as he switches to common, is a deep baritone. It's like, what kind of a guide are you, Panther Clan? You should know better than to let your party eat the smooth maracuya. He turns to the group. These smooth ones, are poisonous. You must only eat the wrinkled ones. They will aid in treating any head pains you may have, and they won't kill you. He turns back to you, Dusted Cole, and he's about to start meowling at you again. Why can you not speak Tabaxi? I cannot believe this. I asked you, where are you taking these smooth skins?
Cops who are stolen rarely learn Tabaxi tongue. but we are heading back to Port Nyanzaru, and we are looking for if you want to call them smoothskin as well, uh, a man called Rocker that should have been traveling this route as well. Have you happened to see him?
Come, let us sit down and break some bread. And he crosses his legs and he just sits right where he is under the shade of one of the trees and reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small, round, it looks like a potato. And he cracks it open and it looks like it's baked on the inside, bread-like, and holds it up to you as he gestures for you to sit down.
That Dusted tries to mimic the movements of the other tabaxi. At least some way of weird courtesy, and also sort of like, oh, I should probably be doing this if I'm a tabaxi.
Okay.
It's sit the same way that he does. So he joins him at the ground and takes the bed off it.
Roll a performance check for me.
14.
Okay. So, taking in the way that he sat down by literally just quickly crossing his ankles and almost flopping with cat-like grace to the floor into a cross-legged seat, you manage to mimic him perfectly. You sit down and you accept the meal from him. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm on the verge of asking him. Well, first of all, thank you for what you did. That was certainly unwise on my regard.
Everyone else?
I realize that the others have stopped following me and look up from the map and like, oh, and start heading back.
Okay. Are you going to sit down as well in the little circle that's forming?
Yeah.
Good. What about Yelena and Valrus?
Lana will take a seat.
Seeing everyone sit down next to the tabaxi, I will too.
Okay, so you all sit down. He hands his portion of a meal to Dusted Coal and looks at all of you. My name, I am Sitting Stegosaurus of the Lion Clan. I've been following your party for 2 days. Yes, I know Rocker. The Smoothskin is a friend. But I wanted to wait for him to exit the fort before I catch up with you and him.
Did he exit then?
Rocker has left, but I waited for the party for you. He has hopped on a ship in the north of the island. He moved with quick purpose. For a smooth skin, he is quite nimble. And he looks at Dusted Coal and he goes, stolen as a pup, you say?
Stolen cops rarely learn mother tongues, yes.
This is a sad story. A truly sad story, but I must admit, it is not unique. Many mercenaries have made coin from stealing young tabaxi, defenseless kittens to be sold as pets. When Flaming Fist first arrived, they showed tabaxi no mercy, killing us as soon as they saw us to sell our fur for gold. And then they discover live tabaxi worth 5 times more and begin taking us as slaves. But when Fist were hired by the Duke, they started taking our artifacts and riches instead. Now it is pirates who steal our people. Your clan is not the only one to have suffered loss, my friend. The Bobcat clan is no more. All but wiped out from Chult. We fight back, and we have grown strong over the last 10 years. But Tabaxi has many enemy. Smooth skin or not. You must seek out your kin. The Panther clan are still around. They have territories that run south of the Peak of Flame near the Wild Coast. Your clan is small, my friend, but still alive. Perhaps Chief Vibrant Ocean Spray will know what happened to your family. But I must thank you for your company and wish you luck on your path, Dusted Coal. May the sun always
what-
rise to meet you.
The white one. The white ones of our clans. Where do they live?
The white ones you will have to travel further to east. But beware the cauldron and the land of ash and smoke. It is not kind to Tabaxi. And he puts his hand onto his chest and he nods.
Thank you, friend.
May the sun always rise to meet you and your claws always remain sharp. Till we meet again. And he gets up with cat-like grace, gathers his things, turns, and slowly heads into the jungle. Takes 5 big strides, and as you're watching, all of a sudden, he disappears from view.
Right, only the wrinkly ones, huh? And Dustin sort of shakes this sort of like encounter, shakes it down, almost like a cat shakes of water, or a dog shakes of water, and sort of like has a moment where he has to realize what just happened, and is sort of a little bit dumbfounded.
Are you okay, Dusted?
In a moment, I will be. Yes.
I do not understand. Why do people want tabaxi for pets?
I mean, why do wizards have familiars? It's the
That
same
makes
thing.
sense. But tabaxi are like, she just makes a very big motion and points to you. And then points to everyone else. Like people, no?
You'll find very few to agree with you. I mean, did you see the commander? She was surprised I could even sit at a table.
That is
We'd
true.
be treated the same if people didn't fear us.
I suppose so.
I'm sorry for whatever happened to you, Dusted.
You have nothing to be sorry for. You weren't there. You weren't the one holding the leash. Please do not bother yourself with my past.
Regardless, you're here now.
Yes, what a weird turn that has been.
But now you might get to see your family.
I hardly remember their faces. So let's keep at the mission. Let's keep at the mission at hand first.
But
My little
time.
qualms can yes, my little qualms can wait.
We will have time. We will make time for you to see your family.
Just note that should you wanted to do that, you will have all my support. Dusted.
Yes, well, we best get moving. Dustin just looks to Lunan like with a pleading face. Please, don't make this go on any longer. Leave us out of here.
We all give you a hug.
I say we better collect some fruits first and hand you a sack.
Yeah. So,
Only the wrinkled ones.
I'll look for the wrinkly ones and collect some fruit.
Okay, so you managed to fill up all the sacks that you have available.
Bargo will keep 2 of the poisonous fruit, just in case.
Okay,
Good. It's good to have. What's the name of it?
they are maracuya. Let me go into the chat and add it for you quick. Bear with me 1 second. I will send you the link.
Oh, thank you. Bargo will pick up a handful of this fruit. It might prove useful in the future.
I will add it to the
And this fruit, it's just maturity, whether or not it's wrinkled or smooth, or it's two different types of fruit.
Possibly, yeah. So it's possibly poisonous when you eat it, most fruits are, if it's not fully formed yet. Yeah.
correct. Yep. So the maracuya is a type of passion fruit which has got juice in the center. As per the description I've just sent you guys, it can be used to treat headaches, which is exactly what Sitting Stegosaurus said to you, as well as other things. The wrinkled ones are safe to eat, but the immature smooth ones are cyanogenic, meaning that they produce cyanide and are quite deadly.
I will pick up a couple of immature and other mature ones. Good to have.
These are in homebrew, so you can actually add them to your character sheet as well. Just so you don't forget.
Yeah, I realize I cannot add, since I'm not paying D&D, but I think I might do that soon.
I'm pretty sure that anything that I have on my account is shared with everyone because you're in my campaign.
For me, it just says add to collection, but one second, let me see.
Because when I hover above add to collection, it says require subscription for me.
Does it?
Yeah.
I wonder if I could add it.
Because the only way to do it might be...
I can do it directly from my sheet. Yeah.
Good.
Done.
You should be able to do it directly from your sheet if you have an account.
So inventory and then search for the fruit name.
Inventory, add item to inventory, search for the fruit, and then it says either add to inventory. You can store it in your backpack as well.
Done.
Yeah, it shows up as a potion, yeah, if you search for it.
Yes.
How much can I help to my pouch?
Your pouch or your backpack or a sack? Because they are fist-sized, so a pouch might only be able to carry one. But if
then to the backpack, yeah.
Yeah, you can probably just put 4 or 5 of them in there.
Right, I will pick up 4.
Okay. The smooth ones.
Oh, no, I will pick the poisonous ones.
The smooth ones.
That's the smooth ones, yeah.
Yeah.
So 2 of the... in that case, 2 of the poisonous and 2 of the healing ones.
Well, the normal ones.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So you fill up a couple of sacks. All of you manage to put a few of the smooth ones away if you want. And I take it you continue your journey?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. You continue after your encounter with the lion tabaxi, and after about 2 hours or so, a light rain begins to fall. The jungle seems to come alive around you with the wet weather, and you distinctly hear little sounds all over the place, all around from you. There we go. And as you're busy walking and the rain is beating down on you, you hear a tiny roar as a small, feathered dinosaur jumps into your path. It's maybe a foot tall, and it stands in front of you, challenging you directly. We have Lunan was first, then Vargo. Oh. Dusted is at the back, isn't he?
Yeah, the cowardly lion.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Right. Who's doing what?
I'm pulling out my shield.
Hold on. That
Mhm.
is there any way that I'm still speaking in character? Is there any way that thing is a cub, and whatever its mother is somewhere nearby?
Is the creature hostile at the moment?
At the roll a perception check if you want. Then
I don't know.
Was it you who asked if it were a cub?
I mean, I'm asking because if that thing is trying to protect its territory, is it an adult creature?
If you asked it straight out, I would like Lunan to roll for that, if he knows it.
I'm all the way here in the back. I don't know.
Lunan, you're in the front.
Yeah.
So remember, we're traveling southbound. So the marching order is going, whoops, downwards. Draw. There we go. That's the marching order.
Yeah.
Okay. As you're busy discussing, the little dinosaur charges you, Lunan, in the front. Please
Yes.
roll initiative.
I'm not rolling well today.
I was shocked.
That's okay, neither did I. I got a 4. Who are we missing? Yarlena hasn't been
Oh,
added to the combat tracker.
Yeah, I think my thing has frozen.
Yeah, same for mine.
I'll just refresh.
But
Let's add both of you. Do you remember what you guys rolled?
I didn't
I haven't
manage
rolled
to
it
roll.
'cause sheet hasn't opened up.
Oh.
My roll showed in the chat 9 total.
Yep, it's been added to the tracker already.
I think it's just being slow.
Each square is 5 feet in this
Yes,
map, right?
correct. Right. We're waiting for...
There we go.
There you go, 17, nice.
7.
And Valrus is 7.
Yep.
I'm sure it'll change automatically. Okay, so top of the order is Yarlena.
Oh boy. Hold on. It's just being a little bit slow. So the thing before us is definitely hostile, right? It's being mean.
Correct.
Apart from the thing in front, does she hear anything else
Roll a perception check for me.
in the distance? Oh my god.
It is raining, you're in the jungle, you're surrounded by the sounds of the jungle, and in front of you is a small chicken-sized dinosaur with the little feathers underneath it going wah, wah, wah.
Chicken size.
It
Oh my
looks
God.
like a little chicken, really. It's got feathers on it all over the place and stuff as well. Just your shock at seeing something this small challenging you. Your focus is not anywhere else. You cannot make any other sounds out except the rain pelting on you while being insulted by this chicken-sized dinosaur.
I know I probably can't do it because I've done that book. Can I? I'm gonna walk a bit. She's gonna walk a bit closer
Mm-hmm.
and get a bit of a ration out of her bag and get ready to throw it. I guess on my next turn to maybe calm it down.
Okay, so I mean, you'll move half your movement rate, or how close are you going to move?
Close enough to probably here.
Okay. I'll say it'd take you an action to get part of a ration out. You can use a bonus action
Yeah.
to throw the food to him.
Yeah, I should just very gently throw it.
Okay. And that is then your movement and your
Yeah.
turn.
Yes.
Alright. Next up then is Dusted Coal.
Right. I was gonna charge up there and try to grapple it, but seeing Jelena, throw the food to it, Dustin is just gonna take out his bow and actually go on sort of Overwatch, see if there's anything larger. He's still in the idea that this is basically a cob of some kind, and there's something bigger just around the corner somewhere.
Okay.
So I'm just ready. I'm just getting my bow out and readying an action.
So you're gonna pull out your bow, pull out an arrow, and hold your action, or
Yeah, hold an action. Yeah,
okay? And
in case something big and nasty comes right around the corner.
which corner?
Oh shit! There's two sides, isn't there?
Bottom of the map, left or right, or just
Yeah.
so?
Just if anything big enters these three squares just south of the cop, like in
Okay.
the area surrounding it.
All right. So, gotcha.
So from there to there.
So in your line of vision in front of you, if anything big steps into view, you're gonna fire at it.
Not Jesus. He's more concerned. Oh Jesus! If I commit to it, I'm just gonna shoot and this huge dinosaur shit. If there's anything, no, I think I'll just be ready. No, I'm not gonna ready an action. I'm too scared for that. Nope. Let's just have the bow out for now.
Okay. Then it's Fargo's turn.
Okay, looking at what Jerlena just did, Bardo is just gonna ready a firebolt in case anything attack us.
Okay. So you're standing right behind Yelena, using her as cover, and you're gonna ready a firebolt just in case something attacks you.
Yeah, I will move over there.
Okay, you're gonna move over to there. Lunan.
I will take the dodge action and just try to not look scary to the dinosaur and see if it is friendly.
Okay.
Following Jarlena's lead.
All right. Cool. Valrus.
He is going to chant some words, prepare and cast mage armor.
Oh, you're gonna cast mage armor on yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Alright then, in which case, it is my turn. So everyone's had their go, yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The little dinosaur ignores the food that Yelena throws at it. Screeches again. Rah! Let me see if I've actually got one.
She pouts. Very upset.
That's pretty rough.
Oh, that was
Chicken dinosaur.
And after that, it jumps. Yeah, this is the music that we want. And Lunan, it goes straight for you.
Yes.
It does a jumping, leaping attack with a bite, and as it lands, it's going to try and claw you as well. So
Can I fire DM?
who? Dusted? Or
No,
Vargo?
I was asking if I can fire the thing since it attacks us.
Yes. That's okay. I'll let you fire at simultaneously.
Oh no! After the thing attacks. I mean.
Okay, after is good. Yes. And
Yeah,
Luna,
just remember it has disadvantage in attacks against me due to the dodge action.
disadvantage on both attacks.
Yeah.
Okay.
All attacks until my next turn has disadvantage against me.
So his first attack with disadvantage, he got a 7. That's a miss, isn't it?
Yeah, my AC is 15.
And the disadvantage with the second, he gets a 9. So that's
It
a miss
also
as well.
misses.
And as it attacks from out of the jungle,
Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5.
Oh, Varys. No.
the rest of
7.
them all come rushing out as well. So, as they come running and charging, they all get 2 attacks as well. Dusted, the one in front of you is going to ignore you completely, and they're going to go for 3 go for Valrus and 3 go for Vargo. So, now don't forget. So these are going to be 1, 2. So that's going to be 6 attacks on each of you, but because they're flanking, they get +2, +3, don't they? So I'm going to bite and claw. So the first one is Valrus.
Mm-hmm.
So your armor class is 12, isn't it?
Well, it's 15. Yeah.
It's 15 now. Yeah? Okay, so I've got 116, but the 15 doesn't include the flanking, so that's a hit as well. There's an 18, which is 22, so there's 3 hits on you. So one is a bite, a claw, and a claw. So
Oh,
the
wait,
3
which
surrounding
one?
you take 11 points of damage from the 3 tiny beasties in front of you. Vargo. So, the first one behind you, 17 and 21. The 17 is flanking, so that's 19.
Can I use my reaction to seal, or do I have to use it to fire the bolt?
You are holding your action to fire a bolt for when you get attacked.
That's correct, yeah.
But you can forego that and use your reaction if you want, yes.
Then yes, I will use shield on myself.
Okay, and shield will improve your armor class by
5.
5. So, you are then 22, 23 armor class, aren't you?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so when we're flanking, I get in 3 areas I get +3, don't I?
I think that's correct, yeah.
So only the 21 hits you,
Alright?
and that was the second attack. So the first, you get 1 claw from behind you, that takes 5. And a 14 and a 7 on miss from your flank, and then from in front, a 9, and then a natural 20. And
Oh,
that's
that
it.
hurts.
Nasty little buggers.
So you take 7 slashing from the other one. Okay, that is all of the little chicken dinosaurs. Right. Next up. From the top then is... Oh wait, Vargo, you've done your action. You were holding... Dusted, nothing big jumped out. So from the top is Yarlena.
She's gonna turn to the one right next to her, the one beneath Vargo, and she's gonna hit it while using, oh gosh, what was it called? Green flame blade. Using it with hit it with green flame blade.
Okay.
So that's just a regular attack. And then it does the... Oh, can't find my weapons anymore. Oh my god.
You can actually see the dinosaur on the chat sheet, can't you? Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I think it's that. I can't really post this
21.
from my sheet. Yeah, so I'm gonna hit
Definitely
the one
hits.
to the right, and then one within 5 foot. I'm trying to think which one is him. The one to Vargo's right.
Mm-hmm.
The flame will jump over there.
Okay.
I think then it's just 1d8 plus my... Yeah. So that should be... Oh, okay. It's 1d8 plus my spell casting, which is plus 4. So 12.
Is that for the one just in front of you, or the one from next to Vargo?
Melee attack deals an extra 1d8 fire damage to the target on hit, and the fire damage of the second creature increases to 1d8 plus your spell attack, plus your spell casting ability modifier. So that's the one that the fire jumped to, and the other one takes, I think, the short sword damage and a d. Oh my god, a d8, which I can roll another d8. I'll have to fix the spell because it doesn't roll the damage. And then...
Okay, so you basically do 10 to the first and 12 to the second.
Yeah.
Okay, in which case you kill 2 of them.
Hell yeah.
Right, Dusted Coal, it's your turn. Oh, sorry, do you want to move or do anything else?
No, she'll just turn to help Lunan.
Okay. And that's your turn done?
Yes, all done.
Dusted Coal, you're up.
Dusted Cole is gonna shoot with his longbow at the one to the left of Valrus.
Okay. Go ahead and roll.
And that is with disadvantage, of course, because I'm in melee with a ranged weapon.
If you're shooting the one on the left, it's not a disadvantage, right?
Yeah, I still have an enemy in my face, so yeah. That would be a 15.
You still hit though. That's definitely a hit.
And worst damage possible, 5.
Okay. It is still standing.
And then I'm gonna move down here.
Okay, so you're skirting around between the two over there. So you're not moving out of combat, so there's no opportunity attacks on you.
No, but I'm moving into combat. I'm moving into two other creatures'
Correct.
tackle zones, or whatever you want to call it.
Okay. Is that your turn?
No, I'm gonna sheath my bow with my free action. Yeah.
Okay. In which case, then it's your turn, and it's Fargo.
Alright, which way is the one that just shoot at?
The one behind Valrys.
By behind, you mean
I mean-
north?
Yeah, that one.
This one, the one
The one
I
to the
just pinged.
left.
Right, I will miss a step right there, bonus action, and firebolt at that one.
Okay. Oh.
I thought that was a one.
As you disappear from combat and you appear on the other side of a great big bush, you release a firebolt, and it just seems like it's about to miss the little velociraptor, but smashes into his behind as he starts trying to attack Valrys, and he hits.
Yeah, he takes 5 damage, fire damage.
And he explodes in a ball of flame as he falls down dead.
Thank you, Jarlena.
Good job. You still got some movement, or are you happy there?
I'm happy there.
Okay. Then, is that your turn?
Yes.
Alright, next up, it is Lunan.
Yes. And Lunan starts to say, please help us, Ayun, and sends 2 darts on that guy and 1 dart of this on this guy of the magic missile.
Okay. Who ever thought a cleric with magic missiles?
Arcane
I love
clerics are
them.
amazing. Arcane
That's
clerics are
like-
so amazing.
Just wait until he gets to 17 level.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, 8, 9, and 10.
have you rolled?
This is for the upper one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if
7.
Plus 2, because it's
Plus
1d4
2.
plus 2, yeah, so it's 9.
Okay.
I don't see the roll, but it rolled. And this is for the one below.
And that's 3. Alright, so the one at the top is definitely bloodied and looks like he's on his last legs. But the one at the bottom is still doing quite fine.
Okay.
Is that your turn?
That's all I will do, yes.
Alright, then next up is Valrys.
He's going to just move over there and then there. And can I cast Burning Hands downwards without hitting any of our allies to get the 2 that are directly under?
Ooh. What is the range on Burning Hands? Let's have a look quickly.
I think it's 15 cone.
Cone, yeah.
It's 15. He can do it if he goes 3, 2, 1. I'm having a hard time explaining. Let's see.
So, let me delete that. 15. Each creature in a 15-foot cone. I mean, you can angle it if you move maybe to there.
Yeah, then I do that.
And if you do, you could probably get both 2 of the velociraptors. But
I mean, I don't mind a little bit of singed fur.
I will try and save, or
but the bottom velociraptor above Lunan will get an opportunity at... Oh!
Yes, they will.
Whose
Oh,
cone is that?
It's me. I'm playing with the AoE,
how do you place cones?
and now it should be a 15.
Yes, that's a new feature, by the way. The can you move it? No.
Wait.
Oh, it's
No.
the AoE up there. Like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah. So this is the 15 cone.
Yep.
Oh, I can. Oh, there we go. You moved as well.
In
Yeah,
that
I
case,
think.
I don't know if I would have to move away. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's good. That 15-foot cone. You can still get those two velociraptors. If you want to move there, it's up to you.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so I get an opportunity attack on you, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So let's do that, and he's going to try and bite you first. And he gets a 13.
Which does not hit.
Alright, so you move out of range, no problem at all. And as you skirt around, you blast out your cone of cold, and
It's fire.
it's sorry, burning hands fire. I just saw the cone, I automatically think. So,
Yeah.
the first velociraptor gets a 12 on his dex save.
Mm-hmm.
That's a miss.
Yeah,
And
he
the
gets hit, I think.
Yep, and the second is... Yeah, they miss.
Alright.
12 and an
What's the
11, so they
damage?
both take full damage. So roll
There we
3.
go.
Okay, so the first one is burnt to a crisp, absolutely rotten. And as the flames singe the second one, you hear a big scream and a yelp, and you can see most of him is burnt, all the feathers are gone, but he's still standing just above Lunan.
Barbecue.
Barbecued raptor. A bonus action, movement.
I will take a couple of steps back,
Okay.
and that's it.
Alright, cool. Then it's the Velociraptor's goes. And the damaged one, basically Lunan, the two opposite ends of you are both going to attack you.
Go ahead.
Right, that's claw and bite. So I've got a 20. Not a natural 20 though.
The
That's
20 hits.
Yep, okay. You take 4 points of piercing. And Dusted Coal, the one behind you, is going to attack you with claw and bite. And he gets a 13 and a 12. And that's a miss.
I have an armor class of 16, so miss.
Both of them are misses. Okay. In which case, it's the next round. Quick question. Do you want to take a break now before we finish this?
Question. One of them has not attacked, I think.
I've got 3 left. They've all attacked.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Do you want to do a break now and come back in a little while?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And we'll finish
can
up.
do.
Yeah, everyone happy with that?
Alright.
Alright. Let's say it's 21 minutes after 9. So we'll say at 35.
Sounds good.
Alright.
Deal.
Alright. And when we come back, we will see the demise of the party by little velociraptors.
Oh, so you've got more.
As you say. Right. Back into the fray then, and the beginning of round 4, I believe it is. It is Yarlena at the top of the round.
Where is it? What's left? Damn, they're so spread out. This is very bad. I'm just gonna attack the one that she's gonna move here and then attack the one in front of her.
Okay,
Just
that
a
will
little
invite an opportunity attack from the one above Lunan.
That's fine.
Okay.
I hope.
Alright, so he's going to try and claw you as you move away. Oof.
Oh my god.
And he gets a natural 20.
Oh no. Oh.
You take 9 points of slashing damage as you confidently move out the way. The little chicken little scratches your ankle for 9 points of damage.
She's gonna very angrily swing her sword at his friend. Watch it. Well, I would say watching him, but then she might miss. So, mentally watching the other one as she does it.
Mentally is correct. Is this going to be green flame blade?
I think the other one is a bit too far away because it's within 5 foot.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not within 5 foot. So it's just a regular
Okay.
attack.
Alright then. The beast is flanked, so you get a bonus to your attack as well, don't forget.
Is it a 1 or 2?
I believe it's +2, let me double check.
+2.
Yeah. +2.
Cool. It's a 18.
Oh goodness, that easily hits.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, 11. And as you lean forward to swat this little bug from in front of you, you cleave it in half. He's definitely dead.
She'll stare at the other one afterwards. The one that got her in the ankle.
Growl
Just
back at
now. Yeah. She'll just mouth, you're next.
Alright, you've got some movement if you want.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how much I have. She'll move around this way.
So you're going to go into combat range so it gets another opportunity to attack at you.
Does it gets opportunities when you go back in?
I actually think it only gets one opportunity attack a go, so
It uses up its reaction with it.
yeah. Which has been done once already, so no, you're fine there actually.
Unless it's a special feature, most creatures don't have opportunity attack when you go into range. Only when you leave.
That's correct.
So, next is Dusted Coal.
I'm gonna attack the one that Jalena is really pissed with. So that's the one to my east.
Go on, steal her kill. The one below you, yes?
19. No, not the one below me. The one to my right. So the one to the east of me.
Oh, the one that's undamaged.
Yeah, I thought that was the one that attacked her, actually, but it might not be. Oh well, I'm attacking the eastern one.
Okay, go on then. Beast from the east. 19 hits. With your rapier, you lean forward.
6 damage.
Skewer him. He's standing, but he is bloodied.
Yeah, that won't do. I'm gonna use my my action search and hit him again.
Okay.
14. Does 14 hit?
Absolutely, yes.
And we'll add 11 damage just to be sure.
Yeah, you've definitely killed him. He, with a shocked look on his face, the little chicken dinosaur falls over. And it dies on the spot. Anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna move down south one spot.
Okay.
And it's just so it cannot use me as cover, the little shit.
Alright. Plus you've now got him flanked from 3 sides. Alright, if that's your turn, then next up is Vargo.
Yep. That one is damage, correct?
Yes, he is looking very damaged.
Yeah. Fuck it. Bargo just gets closer and closer. Pulls out his staff.
Mhm.
This is ridiculous. And he's gonna smack it with his staff. What's the bonus with all of us surrounding it?
Plus 5.
Man, 13. I
13
almost
damage.
made myself look ridiculous.
You go running in with your staff in 2 hands and you start screaming war cries as you run forward to batter this chicken-sized little dinosaur who's currently standing on his last legs, and you just manage to hit it as it's about to jump out of the way. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Yes? Yes? That happened.
Yes, and from behind, as you bring your staff down on the back of its skull, the legs give out underneath and it just splats and bursts apart on the floor in front of you, and you manage to kill it. You look around. Combat is over. You have managed to slay all of the dinosaurs.
Chickens.
And just like
I feel-
that, the rain slowly
Everyone
stops.
alright?
I do not like these little things.
Okay, so note to self, whenever we see one of those, there's usually more nearby.
I feel humiliated.
You killed one.
I killed 2. Still, I feel humiliated.
Oh, just imagine if there was like 12 of them.
Roll initiative. That's
Yeah.
Okay.
So, chicken for lunch?
That's it, roll for.
These things are edible?
Well,
Does the crispy
don't know.
one in particular look edible?
Oh,
They look like
it smells
chicken.
great. So. Forget the look. I mean, it smells like lunch.
Yeah, I killed myself.
Okay. Remind me, you're gonna cast Cure Wounds, yeah?
Yeah, did it not show on the chat?
Ah, yeah. There it is. 12. So, wow, that's up to full.
That's a good roll.
That is.
That's maximum roll, yeah.
But if we sit down and have a lunch,
You can have a short rest.
as in a short rest,
Yeah, then you can heal it up to as many D of your level if you choose to use all of them.
who in my
Yeah.
army, it's 3 of us now.
Yeah, funny thing, if we rest, I use Arcane Recovery and recover my spell lot, my spell slot. Yeah. Sorry.
So you guys gonna rest?
Yes.
Just a
We
short
will
rest,
be
yeah?
eating the chicken thing.
Short rest, correct.
And Yarlena's gonna cook the chicken thing.
Hell yeah. Specifically the one that hit her in the foot.
Okay. I'm living for it at the moment, no problem.
And as we sit down, I look around a bit for some rock to crush these bitter nuts that we found before to try if they actually work against helping healing these wounds we got.
So yes, the butternuts. Let's
Yeah.
have a quick look. See. Yep. So you crush up a couple of butternuts. You just peel off the nuts on the outside and crush the insides up on some rocks, rubbing the compound into your wounds, and roll a d6 to heal.
Mm, trying it on myself first. And if I feel like it works, I will offer Valaris if there's still some left.
Roll a medicine check for me, please, as well.
So that's a 23.
23. Yep, absolutely no problem. You heal 6 points. You don't even need to roll your dice. So you heal
So
6.
Valrus heals 6, right? Because he's applying it to Valrus.
Were you applying it to yourself first or to Valrus?
First to myself.
Yeah, Valrus will heal 6 as well, because you're going to be crushing up the nuts into a paste, using your skills with your medicine check. You managed to do a sterling job with a 23, no problem at all. Anyone that you are going to heal with any of that compound will heal 6 HP.
And I think Jarlena looks a bit
Worse for
worse
wear.
for wear, but I offer it to her and see if she likes some. Jarlena, do you also want some?
I would be much appreciative. It nibbled my foot.
That was a big nibble.
She'll take a bit, just put it over her ankle.
The cat video that you sent should have been a chicken, really.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, Yolanda, you're on 22 then. Valrus, you should be on full. Everyone should be on full. And Yolanda, if you use one of your hit dice during your short rest, you'd heal up to full as well.
Yeah, I think I am going to. Oh, there is.
Oh,
very
easy.
nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Alright, good. So, how much butternuts have you got left?
That was the question I sent you this weekend. I don't know exactly how much we collected. We collected an armful, whatever that is. It's up to you how many doses you wish us to have.
So, I won't say, I mean, an armful, I would probably say you managed to use, for 3 people, about half of that. So
Yeah,
let's
so
say you've still got 3 more
3
doses.
doses left.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
But when you crush up the rest of it, you'll have to roll your medicine check again.
Sure.
Okay. Alright, so you've sat down after healing the party and having a short rest and snacking on some dino chicken. The sun has come out in the afternoon. Following the rains, the mist that slowly settled over the jungle starts to depart as the sun burns out all of the moisture in the air. And pack up your camp, and you continue along your way, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, let's switch it up then, back to chalk map. Alright, so you managed to reach the edge of the trees after now your second day out and about. The sun slowly starts to set, and you begin to set up camp at the end. Breaking out into your watches, After having dinner and lying down to rest, the evening passes uneventfully. The next morning you wake up and it's bright and sunny. A wonderful, cloudless day. Behind you, the tower from Fort Belluarian is barely visible on the horizon. Can Lunan roll your map checking and everyone else who's foraging roll foraging, please?
Finally.
Okay. Fargo, what is your bonus?
+1.
Okay, so you managed to find enough water for one person, yeah? Or food?
I roll a natural 20.
Yeah, but it's still based on the bonus for the amount of people that you're able to.
Oh, correct. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Lunan, you managed to correct yourself, mind you. You were skirting the jungle, so you didn't get that lost, but you managed to find your way through no problem. And Dusted Coal, you're foraging, so you find enough water or food for 3 people.
Yes.
Yeah. Has everybody still got water skins with them?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I believe I have 2 of them.
So do
You
I.
all should have 2, because
Yes.
you will be drinking both water skins every single day. So the idea is that you need to replenish them every day, or you'll start to go thirsty and then dehydrate, which will then lead to penalties on your exhaustion.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we're missing water for one person at the moment.
So the foraging for the water and the food will mean that you will find some along the way, whether it's the juice from certain fruits, or if you come across a stream or something. Obviously, I'll then let you know. But that means one person is going to have to drink their own water skins until they can fill them up again.
I'll go down one water skin and ration. I think it is right.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm carrying all the rations anyway, so might as well start depleting mine.
Yeah. Okay.
Bargo always takes 10 minutes to purify all the water we find.
Okay. Good. So, the next morning, bright and sunny, wonderful cloudless day. As I said, barely visible on the horizon behind you is the tower of the inner bailey from Fort Belluarian. You get into a marching order, pack up your gear, and off you head towards Port Nyanzaru. The day passes slowly. The jungle heats up during the morning, and in the afternoon the sun beats down on you. It doesn't rain, and without the cover of the jungle to shield you from the sun, you begin to feel the toll of the heat. Late afternoon, at the peak of the heat, the thirst hits you like a tidal wave, just as you begin to consider breaking camp for the evening. Your foraging has led you to find sufficient food and drink for 4 of you, but one of you has to dive into your rations. You set up camp, dinner, set up the order of watch in the evening, and the night passes uneventfully. You rise the next morning, and again it's hot and dry. The air is stuffy, and the heat has been so... Go on.
And because I knew this, I prepared for this today. And I say, we should put up the rain catchers. Let's make it rain.
Are you going to start a dance?
Yes. I'm gonna do a dance. The most beautiful dance you can imagine when you're thirsty.
Okay.
The one that makes it rain. I'll cast create water.
You're going to cast create water. Remind me, how much volume of water is that?
It
I think it's 1 gallon, isn't it? Or something like that.
It's a quite big amount. It's
10 gallons.
10 gallons.
Oh, wow.
10 So 10 gallons would fill up obviously 10 wineskins. But it create water will be a body of water, won't it?
So the spell reads, you create up to 10 gallons of clean water within range in an open container. Alternatively, the water falls as rain in a 30-foot cube within range.
Ah, good. Okay. So in which case then yes, you can set the rain catchers up and you can sort that out. Of course, the rain catchers will catch all the water, and then you'll just have some rain catchers full of water. So are you just going to fill up the skins again afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not a problem at all. So you take 10 minutes to sort that out, create your own personal thunderstorm, rain clouds, fill up all of the water. I'm going to assume that you drink your fill in the morning, and then refill whatever is emptied.
Yeah.
That's probably safest, yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, in which case, I'm not going to ask you to roll any foraging checks. So you rise the next morning and it's hot and dry. You create your own little bit of rain to fill up all of your water skins after you break your fast. The air around you is still quite stuffy. The heat from the day before is carried over through the night and it's settled over the jungle, invading your nostrils. The air is without moisture and you can really feel the heat in the air. It's like breathing fire itself. Even though you've drunk your water skins, you look around and only Valrus appears comfortable with the new sensation of burning nostrils. Nevertheless, though, you break camp and you head out. The journey is slow going. Thankfully, the sun hasn't reached its height yet, but the heat is beginning to increase. And as the sun climbs higher, just when you feel you can't take any more, you hear a faint rumbling from all around you. Where is it? Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on.
We best find some cover before we end up like drowned mice over here.
I agree.
So, the faint rumbling from all around you, then a crack and a crash, and the sounds of the jungle come alive again. Looking out towards the jungle, you can see it, a grey rain cloud moving fast towards you. You rush to set up your water catchers again. Mind you, you don't have to, do you? Setting them up just in time before the water and the rainstorm reaches you, but the sweet, wet water washes over you, immediately cooling you from the heat, drawing the heat of the air out of your nostrils. The rain lasts about 20 minutes before it passes and heads out to sea. Nothing further interesting happens during the day. You set up camp for the following evening, or that evening, sorry, and have an uneventful night. The next day again is dry and oppressive, and you spend the morning on the march. Break for a meal and then continue. With no rain again, you turn to look at your companion, potentially to create another lot of rainfall, as the thirst claws at your throat. Are you going
Whenever it's needed, I will cast it in the morning.
Okay. So it would be safe to assume that you always set one spell slot aside for casting water.
Exactly. I will spend one in the morning, so I will always have one less.
All right.
When we are near a river, it won't be necessary, provided I can use my ritual. Just so you save your spells.
Yeah.
Just as the sun begins to make its way downwards, you notice some small brown fruits hanging from trees near the jungle's edge.
Bargo goes towards the fruits.
Oh, okay.
Picks a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
Everything okay with that?
Yeah, the fruits they fit into the palm of your hand quite nicely. They're about the size of a baseball, and they feel heavy when you shake them a little bit. It sounds like there's some liquid inside them. They have got a waxy sort of skin on the outside of them.
Do I recognize them?
How long have you been in the jungle?
Not much.
You don't recognize them at all.
Then, just in case, I cast Purify Food and Drink.
Okay.
And just offer them to the party.
Mm-hmm. Who's gonna take one?
Is this another of your random fruits?
I saw him cast the spell on it, or ritually cast it, I assume.
Yes.
And I will do the kind of taste test to see if it's bitter, that type of thing, because bitter fruits often are more likely to be poisonous.
Okay. How are you going to? Are you just gonna bite into it? You're gonna lick it?
I
break
take
it
out my
open?
machete,
Uh-huh.
make a small cut, and then put my finger on the cut, and like on the cut of the fruit, and lick the finger.
Okay. So you stab the point of the machete into the fruit. It's got a little bit of give, so you push it a little bit further as it breaks through the thick skin on the outside, and as the machete pierces into the fruit, a little bit of juice squirts out. You withdraw the machete from it and put your finger underneath and squeeze the juice, and an orange coloured juice squirts out all over your finger. You look at it, smell it. It's got a bit of a shine to it in the light, and you slowly lean forward and stick your tongue out and give it a little bit of a lick. It has a distinctive flavour to it, almost like chocolate, and refreshing at the same time.
Interesting. Do I, from this information, am I able to figure out what the fruit is?
So you look at the fruit, you squeeze it a bit, it's quite soft and juicy, and you take both of your hands and tear it open, break it in half, and inside you can see it looks exactly like an orange from the inside. And you have a little bit of a smell, and yeah, it sounds like a delicatessen from back home called Terry's.
I'll have a bite.
Oh, and you take a bite into it, and little pulps of juice and packets of juice inside burst in your mouth as a flavour of orange and chocolate intermingles on your taste buds, and it tastes delicious.
Orange chocolate. That sounds good.
Terry's chocolate orange.
I'm looking at others. This is horrible. Really shouldn't try it.
He says, eating another one.
Do you have any more?
Yeah, sure, take it. Just cook some for me, please.
Anyone else eating them?
Well, they might be horrible, but we are in a jungle, so.
This is true.
Yep.
Alright, you take a bite into it and you realise it is wonderful. It tastes like one of these exotic dark chocolate coffees that they used to serve where you were from.
Never trusting them again.
Yeah, Lana will have one too.
Okay.
Seeing them both eat them.
And the flavour takes you back to the Feywild from when you were a child, when fruits like this used to grow in your back garden. The nostalgia hits you in the back of the head, and you smile, giggling to yourself.
Oh boy. Yeah, they're giggling.
All right. You're going to take a couple and store them away, I assume.
Yeah.
Some chocolate orange fruits.
On good dessert.
All right. So, taking some of those, you continue on, and eventually the evening settles, and you start to set up camp for the evening. Share out some of the food that you found throughout the day, maybe one or two small rations. Checking your water skins to make sure that everyone's comfortable, and setting up watch. Who is on the third shift?
I think we decided that was me because I don't have any spells to recover.
That was you, wasn't it? And were you on your own?
Yeah.
I will be awake then by then either way.
Okay. Both of you, please roll perception checks for me.
Oh yeah, just like the good old times when we saw dragons and every shit. Yeah, let's go with that.
You're sitting around your fire, around your camp, and taking in the sounds of the jungle. And both of you rolled actually really well. You know, as you're contemplating life in the jungle and how peaceful it is, and thinking about the city and how far away you are from there and your mission,
Harry's chocolate orange.
and Terry's chocolate orange, Dusted and Lunan, out of the corner of your eyes, you notice the jungle leaves start moving and shaking. You hear a little bit of rustling coming from just opposite you.
So is that on the west or the eastern side of this map?
On the west side of the map, opposite
Okay.
you. As if something is like creeping through the jungle opposite you.
I put on the shield and go up and wake Jarlina.
Okay. So you're gonna wake Yarlena?
Yeah.
What time is it?
Not sure. Something up in the jungle. Hopefully nothing, but
Oh,
I
I
thought
hope it's
I'll
not
get
more of
you.
those chickens.
I thought I'd
Chickens.
get you a chance to get ready.
Thank you. She
And
just groans and rolls over to
okay.
get her stuff.
Roll a perception check for me, please. As you're getting your stuff.
Should do it as quietly as possible, but I don't know what that is for her. Oh, yes.
And
Wow.
you hear it as well, a rustling of the leaves, just maybe 2 foot past the jungle edge. The leaves sort of shake, and you can see them in the trees as they slowly shake.
She goes extra quiet
Mm-hmm.
and goes to wake up gently and very quietly shake Valorous awake.
Okay.
What is it?
Get your stuff together.
Get up to his knee, confused, looking around.
You look around, and most of the party is awake. Who's not awake? Lunan?
Vargo, I think.
Vargo still.
Bargos
And
is
Dustin,
sleeping.
Dustin has just been keeping an eye on the edge of the forest this entire time. He hasn't woken anyone up.
Yeah, he's still staring at the forest, correct. So there
Yeah.
is a sound coming from this area over here. About that deep into the forest, you start to see the leaves shaking.
I go up and try to cover Valaris and wake him.
Take a
Valrus is
step.
awake. You mean
Yep.
Oh,
Fargo?
yeah.
Or I can go and wake him up if Lunan takes cover.
Mm-hmm.
What's happened?
I think there's something in the jungle.
No shit. Of course, it's something in the jungle.
Quiet.
Oh, Mr. Grumpy Sleeper over here doesn't want to be woken up.
And then a little bit closer, you notice, Fargo, some of the leaves start shaking.
Margo starts putting on his armor.
Okay.
It woke us up for a fucking rabbit or something.
I sure I will kill you.
Trust me, it will be something like that.
Anyone have anything to light things up?
They have a torch. I can light it and throw it in. But you have magic.
Give me 5 minutes and I will do something. Says while he's putting his armor.
Mm-hmm.
Dusted, you know how to use crossbow, right?
Yes, but I prefer to use my longbow.
Okay. Take an arrow and I will cast light on it and shoot it on a tree in there, so we get some light over there.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
I cast light on.
So Dusted gets his longbow out and fires. Well, readies an arrow, waits for to cast light on it so he can fire it.
Mm-hmm.
I cast light.
Okay. Light is what, 20 feet?
20 feet radius, I think.
Yeah, bright light 20, and then dim light 20 or something like that, or is that torches?
Yeah, no, it's the same as a torch, I think.
Yeah. So you're gonna shoot it whereabouts? About there?
Well, something like that, where the nearest tree is. I mean, I cannot shoot through the foliage, obviously, so I just have to shoot at the nearest tree at the edge.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Roll to hit for me, please.
That would be a 16.
Excellent. You managed to pinpoint it straight into the center of the bark. Boom. And the area lights up. Lots of shade is thrown around, obviously, because there's like vegetation everywhere. What are you looking for?
The source of the rustling.
Mm-hmm. So the vegetation lights up as you fire the arrow into a tree. What the light brings forth is lots of palm trees, a couple of ferns, and there are two exotic looking trees that you haven't seen before, about 7 foot tall. They look similar to a cactus with flowers on the end. Orange blossom, a big yellow blossom, and a red blossom nestled in behind some of the ferns as well. But you don't see anything moving underfoot. As you look underneath the leaves of the trees, you don't see any creatures running around.
Can I?
Well, so there's nothing there.
Will take out my machete and walk up and look around.
Okay. Whereabouts?
I will stand here and listen again if I hear anything.
So you stand there and you listen. You're about 10 feet away from the edge of the vegetation. You can hear some crickets, you can hear some monkeys in the trees. Bearing in mind it's still quite night, so you can hear some chirping of other birds, rabbit, some frogs in the distance as well. Nothing else.
And I will take a step up and just take the arrow out if I reach it.
Okay, and as you step up over there, you hear a rustling again, but this time it's coming from this area over here, and the trees start to. Everyone roll initiative, please.
Wait, what? What? What is attacking?
We don't know.
Oh yeah.
Busted is definitely caught off guard by this creature in the
Like-
dark.
Yeah, I'm even more shocked. Vargo takes it with a stroll after he got his armor on.
Okay. Right. Both of mine should. Nah, they'll be on separate initiatives because the one's closer, the other one's further. Okay. Lunan, as you've gone to step forward, Vargo, I am. I mean, Vargo, you rolled 26, so what are you going to do?
Do I see those creatures?
No, you
No,
don't
you
see
don't
any
see-
creatures.
All right. Is light currently on the vicinity?
Yes, this
Yes,
area
this
is
area is
bathed in light. Let me just. Because Lunan is currently holding the arrow in his hand, this is the area that's bathed in light. But looking around, you don't notice any creatures or anything. I can't use a surprise round, but what I would like to do is say, if you hold your attack to see what's going wrong, you can have your full action once you realize on initiative 17, or you can go simultaneously when you see something's happening.
Okay, let's go with that. Sir.
Okay, so your perception is quite high and you're ready to react straight away, and you're looking around for creatures, but you don't actually see any creatures. But what you do see are the petals and the blossoms all of a sudden moving. The orange blossom from the big 6-foot tall tree in front, it fires out towards Lunan.
Stefan?
Yes. Can you? Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Sorry, I thought I went silent for a second over there. Right, the orange,
Am I the only one that cannot hear you guys?
probably.
Probably. I hear everyone talking.
Same.
Yeah?
Same.
You still don't hear us? Of course you won't answer that, though.
No. Dustin, can you hear me? Oh,
I think he's testing it.
and he's back in the room. How are we doing? Do you think he's muted us all?
Unlikely.
I wonder. No? Everyone else can hear me, they can't.
He's writing. He's trying to fix his connection. He will be right back.
Okay. Should I continue?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Right. In which case, but that's Lunan, isn't it? No, it's not. Dusted, be right back. Dusted, okay, fine. Dusted's at the back, that's okay. So, Lunan. The plant about 5 feet away from you, all of a sudden, as before you even realize it, all three blossoms, the orange, the yellow, and the red blossom, they move flying towards you. The red blossom actually reaches out to attack you. And wow.
Hits.
It hits you. Right. It will then wrap its blossoms around you. You take 3 points of damage, and I need you to make a grapple check. That's a strength DC 11. As the petals wrap themselves around your head and your shoulders to try and stop you from moving. Welcome back, Dusted. Okay. The 15 you managed to make it, and as the petals wrap themselves around you, you duck and dive and dodge and weave, and as you escape their grip, the yellow one comes flying through towards you as well. I need you to roll a dexterity saving throw as the center of the blossom fires a projectile of acid towards you.
Oh, I'm rolling.
Wow, nice one. You dodge out of that way, and finally the orange blossom comes close enough that a cloud of gas gets billowed out from in front of it towards you as well. I need you to roll a constitution saving throw, please. And you managed to do a Dark Souls roll out of the way as the poison gas passes just over you. Looking around, you can see everyone's confusion. They haven't registered yet, except for Vargo, who notices that all of a sudden it's the plant, this giant 3-blossomed plant that is attacking you. Vargo, it is now your turn.
Oh well, Vargo's just gonna cast Bless
Mm-hmm.
on Lunan, Yerwena, and Dusted.
Okay. Are you going to move or anything?
No, just stay where I am.
Okay, so you're going to cast Bless.
Correct.
Excellent. Okay, then after you is Velrus.
Yep. He is going to cast Chaos Bolt on the one attacking Lunan.
Okay.
21.
Oh, a 21 definitely hits.
Yep. And that is...
Is it 6 altogether? Or do you get
there should be
bonuses?
something else. 2d8 plus 1d6. Sure. And then 1d6 will save force damage.
You can Chaos Bolt. You can choose what kind of damage you want to inflict.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, based on what you rolled. So it would be 1 force damage as well, so 7 total.
But do you get to choose whether it's poison, frost, fire? No.
It's
Oh, the damage
based
type
on
is.
the rolls. So that's 4 is force damage, which is one of the dice that I
Oh, I
rolled.
see. So you roll a
Yeah.
d8 to determine the damage type, and then you roll the other damage.
Yeah, he just has to choose one of the d8s, and he has to choose between cold and force. So
So you've chosen force, yes?
Yep.
Okay. So altogether, the force damage you did was 7. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. The plant has taken a lot of damage, and if anything, I would say it could look bloody, but you've ripped a couple of holes in the plant itself. It's not looking good.
Well, it interrupted my sleep, so I am also going to spend 2 sorcery points
Oh. Mm-hmm.
to do it again.
And you're gonna do it again.
Yeah,
Okay.
just do it again. Oh no. That's 8 plus 6. 14.
So 14 to hit. That hits.
Oh, perfect. And go. And we'll say 9 force damage.
Okay, and with the second one, you blast the plant to pieces as it rips to shreds, petals flying everywhere. Lunan ducks to avoid any of the poisonous ones, and you've still got some movement left if you want.
And then go back to my bedside, ready to go back to sleep.
Alright, cool. Dusted, it is your turn.
I'm gonna use feline grace to just increase my movement a bit, because I was gonna shoot at the blossom and then run to Lunan. But since the blossom is gone and I don't know there's another one, he's just gonna run to the side of Lunan to check that he is okay.
You do notice there's another plant over there as well as you get closer.
Oh, well then, Dusted's gonna take a shot from here with his longbow since he still has it up.
Alright, go ahead and roll to hit, please.
That would be 16,
That definitely hits.
and then 9 piercing damage.
Alright, and the arrow passes through the plant and sticks out the side as it too looks pretty badly damaged. Is that your turn?
No, I'm gonna sheath the longbow.
Okay. Then, as you sheathe your longbow, Yelena, it is your turn.
I don't think she can make it to the plant. So she's gonna she's gonna walk forward 10-15 feet and then she's gonna throw a ray of frost at it. So I'll move her about there, probably more like 20, and then ray of frost. Never mind. Oh wait, did I get bless?
You did get bless, yes.
Yes.
Is that a D4?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
And with that extra bless, you managed to hit.
Yeah, teamwork.
Thank you.
Casually walking over, quite sure of yourself, and blast out your hands. And you're like, oh, hold on. Plus bless. Take aim first. Alright, the ray of frost flies out and hits the plant dead in the center. Bits of plant turn into ice as all of a sudden it falls and shatters to the ground dead. Flops over. Congratulations, you have just killed a plant.
Well, it was one thing when the little chickens were trying to kill us, and now the actual plants want to.
This is humiliating.
Life.
Welcome to the jungle.
Anything more, DM?
Roll a perception check. Yep. No more plants that you can see. At least not the ones that look similar to these. Oh, I could actually have sent through the picture. Hold on.
Ah, another one.
I can send the image to the game log. There we go. That's what they look like.
Oh,
Oh.
Oh my god.
So that's like
Okay,
7
Okay,
foot
there was one right next to Valorous. It's thankfully gone now.
tall.
man, they look much more dangerous than what they actually are.
Yes.
Oh,
Mind you,
three,
Yeah, but
three
if
attacks
it,
per
if it
turn
had
is
crept
pretty rough.
if it had crept into your tent and eaten you while you were sleeping, it wouldn't have been so fun.
and Lunan got hit 3 times or had to make 3 saves, and he saved on all 3. That was
Yeah.
ridiculous rolling.
I only took 3 damage, right? So
Yeah, the red one hit you, and then the orange one tried to spew acid over you, and the yellow one tried to poison you.
I was convinced I would be screwed.
Well, I can't believe you rolled. It was 4
It-
good
it-
rolls in a row.
it was so awesome. Yeah.
All right. Looking at the remains of the flowers on the ground, look down, grind your boot into what remains of it, go back to your bedroll, and you guys carry on sleeping. I assume.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
I give Dustin
I'll
his.
just I was just gonna ask for my arrow back, please. Thank you.
All right. So your arrow with light cast on it goes back into your pack, and the rest of the evening passes without any events. Waking up on the next day and the next morning, with 2 days left to reach Port Nyanzaru, you can see in the distance the mouth of the river where you crossed on your first day with Rocker. You break camp, you begin to set out, when, as you've just finished packing up, you notice a large group of men approaching you. There must be 12 of them. They're all dressed wearing heavy leather armor. Some of them are wearing tabards, shields. You recognize them as a Flaming Fist patrol. They spot
I
you,
hope.
and the
Sorry.
leader in the front points as they make a beeline straight towards you.
I do hope they're not here to eat us as well.
Well, Margot is our spokesperson for this sort of thing, right? He has the document.
They march straight up towards you. Lunan being in the front, obviously, as you're about to go into marching order with Vargo next to him. Good morning. The grizzled old man with grey in his beard. He's got like a little leather coif on his head that's acting as his helmet. Papers, please. I take it you have a charter?
We do actually. And who's carrying it? Hello?
I think everyone else is thinking.
I heard you, but I think it was. Wasn't it Yerlana talking with Greta?
Oh boy, did I forget. I probably did forget. I was just gonna check the session summary.
It's not in my inventory. I think I
Yeah, I know for sure it wasn't me.
Here's the thing: Vargo was the one that took the scroll, ran back to Greta, and tried to get it changed because he wanted to create an even worse
That
distraction.
is
So,
correct. Yeah.
so therefore, Vargo must have it. That's my logic to this.
Yeah.
I don't think Vargo handed it off to someone else since he ran up to Greta and screamed that the name was wrong. So no, I don't think anyone else can have that little cylinder full with the paper. So it must be Vargo.
Yeah. I just was gonna say I found it. Yeah. There you go, good sir.
Amateurs, I can tell. Good luck in your travels. He looks over the paper. Fortune's favoured. Alright. Find anything good? Any loot that we need to register? Take note of?
Did the plant?
I saw him the 4 maracuja fruits that we got.
We, we've literally just left the fort. All we've seen is some fruits.
Yes.
20%, that's a whole bite.
Be wary of the smooth ones. They can do damage. And watch out. Everything in this jungle wants to kill you. Especially if you don't have papers.
We've noticed.
Right, well, I guess there's no point in us dallying around here. Good luck in your travels, fortune favoured. Right, boys! Hup, hup. And with that, he throws his flat hand forward towards his men and march out. And they form up in a line, and some of them look at you up and down. Some of them shake their heads at you as they walk past. There's a good dozen of them as well, and they're all pretty much armed to the teeth and grizzled old veterans walking past. One or two of them at the back you can see are juniors, pulling a cart behind them just with some barrels of what you assume must be fresh water. And you watch them slowly make their way along the pathway on the edge of the jungle up towards the fort. Okay. As they pass you, you guys decide to carry on, and you continue down to the beach side, and you can see a couple of boats, docked on the seaside there. And as you're looking over, you can see one of the ferrymen is busy ferrying across from the port to the beach, and he's carrying another contingent of guards, Flaming Fist Patrol. They look rested, they look clean and healthy. They must have just come from shore leave or furlough, going back into patrol. You make your way down to the edge side as you get there. Papers.
Repeat the same process, I suppose.
He looks over. They look up and down. You just come from the fort.
Yeah, correct. And I proceed to describe him the one patrol we just came around.
Oh yeah. Corporal Gary. Got you. Alright, well, good luck, and don't die out there. And takes his patrol, and they head up the side of the beach area towards the jungle as well. In front of you, obviously, there is a really big barge. It looks like it can hold 15 people, maybe 1 or 2 horses if needed. And the ferryman is standing there leaning on his pole. Alright, you're looking for a raid across the river.
That is correct, yeah.
Is it just the 5 of yous?
And not one more.
No, just 5, yes? No one else? Okay. Ah, tell you what, that's only 2 silver.
I'll take this, and I pay him in coppers.
You whip out your bag of
Oh
96
dear.
coppers and you start counting out. And he looks at you and he's like, "Oh yeah, alright. Hang on there, young man." And he kneels down and starts picking them out, and he puts them in little piles of 10 coppers apiece. How much is that? 34, 50 copper? No, I'm not good with maths, you know. How much is coppers? 30 coppers ought to do it. Aye. Do you count out the coppers?
Sure.
Good. Mark them off on your sheet, please. Great. So, and you guys all load yourselves up onto the barge, and he pushes off the side of the dock. So, where'd you come from? No?
Well, that's an interesting question. Let me look at the map.
I just happened to roll out of the jungle.
The jungle.
Yeah, under the backseat, I'm cracking a joke. A really bitter one at that.
Ah. Oh, I saw that you got your chatter as well, you know. Make sure you hold on to that. That's worth a bag of gold, that is, over there. Yeah, these flaming fist bunch of right animals, you know, if you don't have the right paperwork. I tell you what, they're no stranger to taking everything, including the shirt off your back. And he's slowly busy barging his way across the bottom of the riverbed. And he's making a little bit of polite small conversation, and as you're watching out the mouth of the river and taking in the beautiful afternoon, you notice a few shoals of fish, and in particular a very big swarm of small fish below the barge. And as you're looking down watching, there must be about 30 or 40 of these fish in a shoal chasing after you. He looks at you and goes, "Aye, you want to watch out for those ones. Those little fish there, the quippers. Flesh-eating bastards, I tell you. Don't put your hand inside there. Take it off right to the bone, aye. But delicious. I tell you what, you manage to catch one of them, pull out all them teeth, and then you just fry it over the flames. Easily probably pay a gold piece for a meal at Kaya's House of Repose for one of them. Great eating that."
I cast Toll the Dead on one and see if it floats up.
My god.
Excuse me?
You spend a spell slot, and true enough, as the fish starts to float up, all of a sudden the others pounce on it, and there's like a churn of white water and a bit of blood and guts in the middle of the water as the barge slowly moves away from the swarm of carnivorous fish behind you. Oh, blimey! You see that? Vicious bastards, eh?
Sure.
You made some fishers happy. Congratulations.
Right, as you slowly cross over the mouth of the river, you make your way into the Teriyaki anchorage. At last, you've reached Port Nyanzaru once again. The afternoon heat wave can be seen slowly rising from the ground. Away from the river mouth, it is much hotter, and the air stiflingly warm. The little barge slowly pulls on to one of the docks in the Teriyaki anchorage. The pole master slowly moves across, grabs a rope from the side of the boat and ties it off onto the dock. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you. Have a great time in the port lake. And he does a flourishing little bow as he extends his hand and points you his way to the dock so that you may disembark. Right. And we are... let's put a little circle.
What a nice little fella.
Right, so we are down over here. If you can see the new map.
Hmm.
We are back in Port Nyanzaru. It is the afternoon. 1, 2 swarm equippers of day 11, and that is where we will call it for the night.